Today we're going to talk about this book right here, Forest of Assassins. I am one of the authors. Uh, it's a little bit different um, track for the channel, so let's just talk about the story for a minute. The story is that of the Navy SEALs in the Vietnam War. It is set in the time period that actually predates Gulf of Tonkin. Gulf of Tonkin is an event in the book, and then it goes further than that. And it doesn't try to just tell the story of battles, although they're in the book. It does tell the human story of what it's like to be a Navy SEAL separated from your family and creating this new unit that the military didn't even really admit we had yet, right? They're still kind of secret. They're not really well known because they were still experimental. They were like, hey, are we going to really do this? Are we going to jump in and build these things called SEALs? Or are we going to let that go? Um, to write that book, especially Dave, my co-author, um, was heavily researched with Navy SEALs who were there. So there, we got, sort of firsthand knowledge. But those are not the most chatty group of guys. So you have to kind of stitch it together from, a couple of people, which was done. And we tried to not just capture the imagery of the battles, which certainly I think we did, but we tried to capture the imagery of um, the soldiers interacting with the local guerrillas and how difficult that was and how difficult it was to keep them and get them on your side, which you had to go through to do that. The human factor of what's it like when you're doing this job that number one, the Navy won't admit you're doing. Number two, nobody really knows you're doing. Number three, other units around you are like, who the hell are these guys, right? And you can't really tell them. Everything's a big secret. And what's it like to be separated from your family? So you've got all those sort of human factors coming into play there as well. And I think we captured the sort of zeitgeist of what it was like to be a soldier then. I am an Army vet. I'm not a Navy vet, but I'm Army. I was certainly, too young to be in Vietnam. I would have been, negative something years old. I was 3 when it ended. But I think we captured the sort of things those men went through. And I don't think they've been given enough kudos over the years. I really don't. I think those guys were heroes, and I think there's still a lot of their story that's been secret and held back by various government organizations. Certainly, the Gulf of Tonkin event, which was really the excuse that was used to get into the war. If you look at that event, sort of the official record just didn't hold a lot of water. And talking to the SEALs, there was a different sort of version of that story that came out. And part of that is, were we the aggressors? Were we the defendants? Were we the people on offense? Were we the people on defense during that night? It was sort of portrayed as, hey, they came out and shot at us for no particular reason. I think there was a reason. I think we were the aggressors there, just a little bit. And that's the way we portrayed it in the book. And trying to look at what these guys went through in the war and back home and whatnot is really what we tried to capture here. And I think we've done a pretty good job. We passed it through some Navy SEALs and had them read it, including people who were there. And every Vietnam vet who has read it has said we came as close as anybody has. So I do hope you enjoy it. It's over on Amazon. There's more than like 1,000 reviews now or something. Last time I looked, it was like a 4.2 star average. So people seem to like it. It is in paperback, obviously, ebook and audio. So check it out. It's one of the books I'm incredibly proud to have had my name on and been associated with. So click like, subscribe, follow. We'll talk about another sci-fi book on the next video, but this one is military thriller. So Forest of Assassins. Check it out today.